Slides. Okay, for the otoscopic examination, what you are going to do is you ask the patient to first of all you're going to introduce yourself, and then you ask the patient, can you smile? Alright, so now he is smiling, and then you will inspect the patient, and while you are inspecting the patient ears, if you're going here from the right side, can you look over there? If you see here, you see that there are pinnas is okay, there is no external deformities, the anterior tragus, the posterior part of the pinna, is there any scratch marks, is there any scars, or is there any inflammation? Once you're done with your inspection of the ears, external ear, then you will do palpation. The palpation is you will firstly press the tragus to see is there any tenderness or not. Before we go into the otoscopic examination, you first need to check for the mastoid tenderness. So how are you going to check the mastoid tenderness? You will check it by the tabbing. While you tab the mastoid, if there is tenderness in the mastoid, then you don't do otoscopic examination, number one. Number two is it's the point for referral, because mastoiditis is going to cause hearing impairment, and this is you should not be doing that. So once you do it, you will start with your otoscopic examination. So if you see here, you can use, so now when you're doing the otoscopic examination, you need to use the ear speculum. You should use the correct size. There are small, big, medium sized. Based on the patient's ear condition, you will assess for the ear speculum and position of the pinna, and for that you should do the palpation for the external ear. You will pull the pinnas here. You will pull the pinnas so that is there any tenderness or not. If there is no tenderness, then you will start the otoscopic examination. For the adults, upward, outwards and backwards, and for the children's it is downward and backwards. So for the children's it should be downwards and backwards, downwards and backwards. This is what you're doing it. Once you do it, why you're doing it? To see the canal, if the canal is wide open or not, because the canal is usually oblique. In order to make the canal straight, and then you go right into the canal. This is how now you will start and go inside. So once you are, this is the canal, once you are inside the canal, then you will, while you are going inside the canal, you need to assess the canal walls. Is there any wax? Is there any trauma? Is there any pus there present or not? While you are examining the external coronary canal, while you are doing it, then you go into the tympanic membrane, and then you have you need to have a comment on the tympanic membrane. Can we have it on the side? So when you go inside and you see the tympanic membrane, you should need to know the normal landmarks, malleus, incus. There is a light reflex, eardrum. So it's a picture of normal tympanic membrane. So you need to identify all these landmarks. Next. So this is otitis media. It is very inflamed as compared to the previous one. The previous one is very light. This one is very dark, inflamed, and if you see, there are the landmarks are also covered. And if you see here the bulging, there is a bulging here. And then if you see the next slide has the perforation. So this is the perforation, lateral process of the malleus and annulus, posterior canal, and this is promontory. This is a perforation. Safe perforation and unsafe perforation, you should know what is the safe perforation and what is unsafe perforation, because if the perforation is unsafe, you need a referral. But for safe perforation, responding to the treatment, Every perforated otitis media is not a referral criteria. The patient who is not responding, because even the ENT physician is not going to do any surgical intervention. It's going to resolve on its own into 3 weeks, right? So all what you need is a good antibiotic. If the patient is responding to the antibiotics, getting it better, so you can wait for 3 weeks if it is safe and responding to the treatment. If it is unsafe, not responding to the treatment, clinically unstable, you need to refer the patient. This is for the otitis media and perforation. So now the difference is, now the problem actually is otitis media and otitis externa. We have two scenarios. One scenario says you have a patient who has discharged ears. There is a discharge and there is a pain. So pain and discharge is there. One, the discharge is on the external auditory canal and you see that there is a pussy discharge here. Now the question is how you can say whether clinically whether the patient has otitis media or is it otitis externa. What is the definition of otitis media and otitis externa? Huh? Damage to the tenderness by tapping the tragus. Okay, but that tenderness, if there is otitis media and which is perforated, it is also going to have these kind of, the tenderness may be lower in intensity, but the tenderness can be there in both the cases because the patient is in pain. So the only thing that you can, because now the problem is, if you see the tympanic membrane in otitis externa, there is no problem in the tympanic membrane. The tympanic membrane was intact. But the problem is clinically you cannot reach to the tympanic membrane because there is a discharge present. So in order to have a diagnosis, you cannot have a diagnosis until and unless you see the tympanic membrane, and clinically it is not possible. So the only way to diagnose is the symptomatology onset, whether the patient has started the pain and the discharge at the same time. If the pain and discharge at the same time, then this is otitis externa. If the pain started first, later on with 2-3 days, the discharge started and the pain diminishes. That means that this is otitis media. In otitis externa, the pain is not going to go away with the discharge. In otitis media, the pain is going to go away with the discharge. So this kind of one thing which you should keep in mind while you're assessing a patient. So you should know that am I treating otitis media or am I treating otitis externa? And the tenderness in the tragus, tenderness in the pain and the pinna is the finding that you may find more pronounced in otitis externa, but sometimes you're not really sure. The tenderness is there, although it is in the otitis media, but because the otitis media has now actually, when there is perforation, the otitis media has extended his limitations to the otitis externa also. So otitis media can be concomitant with the otitis externa. So this tenderness can have in both the patient's scenario. Now the contraindication, we discussed the contraindication. You need to tap like this and then you will find out. So you do it on the other one ear and then you do it on the other ear if there is present. So you're going to do the mastoid tenderness by tapping the mastoid process. So this is how you do it. If the patient has tenderness, you are not going to further go with the otoscope. Alright, next. Alright, so risk stratification in the children's. Otitis media usually is present in the children's, and you also need to do the risk stratification because there are a lot of recurrence going on. So you need to know what is the problem, why there is a recurrence. One of the problem is bottle and the breastfeed make if upright to prevent. Because if the child is breastfeeding in a breastfeeding age, then when there is a bottle feed or a breastfeed, the some of the amounts of the milk it will remain in the canal, and that is going to cause recurrent otitis media. So if the child is having recurrent otitis media, you need to address this issue After feeding, you ask the mother to keep it in the upright position so that the remaining milk will go down into the throat. Parental smoking is also one of the second risk factors that causes recurrence. Then swimming. If there is swimming going on in an adult population, younger age groups, not just usually children's, it may also involve adults of younger age group also. So parental smoking and swimming, and if the child is infant, is in the breastfeeding age, so you need to assess the breastfeeding practices that are going on in order to prevent this recurrence in the otitis media. Okay, so this is all about otoscopes. Clear? All right.
Regarding the breastfeeding, how's that? I'm dry.
No, breastfeeding after the feeding. After the feeding, when the feeding is over, whether it's a breastfeed or bottle feed, after the feeding is over, you ask the patient, you ask the mother to keep the child in upright position to do some burps, so that the milk which is there, it goes down. Good? All right. So when to refer? Unilateral unexplained pain in the neck for more than 4 weeks. So anything which is not resolving within 4 weeks, it means that you're actually treating something else. There's something as not just otitis media, there must be something else going on which you don't know, and you need the referral. And mastoiditis, as we said. So these are the two things of the otitis media, otitis externa, and how are you going to refer the child refer a patient, whether as a child or adult, with the ear problems. That's it.